Good afternoon. As you're aware, ACT Policing is investigating the death of a man in the city in the early hours of Sunday the 19th of July. Police were called to the disturbance at about 12:05 a.m. to Kokomos in the city. A short time after police arrived there, ACT ambulance also attended and treated two men at the scene. One of the men, a 48-year-old Pitsoni Ulavai, sadly passed away at the scene. I can confirm at this time that Pitsoni Ulavai was the commander of the ACT chapter of the Comancheros Outlaw Motorcycle Gang here in Canberra. And as a result of this, ACT Policing has established a team of men to investigate this incident. Those experienced investigators have come from Task Force Nemesis, our ACT Homicide team and intelligence units. And as part of this investigation, police have spoken to a number of witnesses, also viewed multiple CCT footage and received mobile phone footage from the incident. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the community and those people that have provided that information and footage to us. That will be crucial in our investigation as it develops. I'd also at this time like to encourage anybody that hasn't provided information, that has information, to contact Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000. Remembering that through Crime Stoppers your information can remain anonymous, and you can provide that information at any time of the day or night. I'd also like to more broadly talk about this incident being quite a shocking incident in Canberra, but let the community know that these are very rare incidents, and ACT Policing takes it extremely serious, and we will do everything we can to bring the perpetrators of this crime to justice. Happy to take any questions.
Have you been able to confirm the cause of death at this point?
Yeah, he died as a result of a stab wound.
And it was been determined yet whether he was attacked intentionally, or did this stabbing occur as part of the melee that occurred in the venue before?
Yeah, that makes up our broader investigation. I'm not going to comment on that at the moment.
Detective, the other man in hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, have you been able to speak to him yet?
Police have spoken to a number of witnesses. We have spoken to him, yes.
Has he been released from hospital?
I believe he has been released.
Okay.
Is that person known to police? Is he a gang member?
He's known to police, yes.
How helpful have witnesses been in this case?
The broader public have been extremely helpful.
Are you still seeking particular pieces of evidence, information? You were calling for video, CCTV and mobile phone footage before?
Yeah, absolutely. Any information that anybody has in relation to this incident, I'd encourage them to come forward and contact Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
The police have concerns that there may be reprisals as a result of this incident, a gang war between outlaw motorcycle gangs.
Well, like I said earlier, we've dedicated a great number of resources to this incident to ensure that doesn't happen, and we'll be working tirelessly to make sure that we prevent anything like that occurring.
Is that a risk though?
At this stage, no.
Could you elaborate on the 3 or 4 teams you've got working on the case at the moment?
Yeah, so we've got teams from ACT Homicide, we've got teams from our Task Force Nemesis, which is our OMCG task force, and we've got intelligence units also working on that.
Do police have a person of interest or a suspect?
Well, that makes up part of the broader investigation. I'm not prepared to release any details in relation to that at the moment.
But I guess you've got so much CCTV vision of the incident. You know, we're talking about something that happened on the weekend and we still haven't seen any charges. Are they close?
This is a very, very complex investigation, and we're working through those details at the moment. In terms of forensics and ongoing witnesses that we need to speak to, there's a detailed amount of information we have to collect before any charges will be laid.
The scuffle that occurred inside the venue, is it clear yet who was involved in that, whether it was members of rival gangs, whether they were members of the same gang, whether it was gang members and just other ordinary members of the public?
Well, we know at this stage that that the Comancheros were there, but I'm not going to talk any further about that.
Have you found the weapon that was used in the incident?
Again, I'm not going to comment on that.
Are Morpheus and Nags involved?
We have support from our state counterparts, and certainly, this is an investigation that will have ramifications nationally.
Would you say that you're casting the net a bit wider? Are you speaking to people who maybe didn't attend Kokomos but were attending other bars or cafes in the area that night to come forward?
Absolutely, our investigation is quite broad, and like I said earlier, we'd be prepared to take information from anybody, from any venue that night that may have seen or heard anything.
Can you elaborate on why this may have implications nationally, this investigation or this particular incident?
Because this is the commander of the ACT chapter of the Comancheros Outlaw Motorcycle Gang. They are nationally placed or internationally placed as well. So, the ramifications of this will be sought and felt across the nation.
The risk of a power vacuum being created that could cause some violence?
No, I don't think so. I think what we'll see is that the people from Mr. Ulavai's interactions will want to be involved and assist in what we're doing.
We've seen a lot of sharing of social media posts involving the incident inside the venue and outside. Has that helped or hindered your investigation at the moment?
Oh, look, any of the information that anybody's got will help us. So, again, I'm encouraging people to come forward and give us that information. Mobile phone data, anything like that they have would be vital for us.
Can you confirm whether there were two interactions with Mr. Ulavalu that night, one involving one person and another involving multiple people?
No, I won't be confirming that today.
Right.
Thank you, Raj.
Cool.
Any cutaways or
Yeah.
Yep.
And if we're doing the cutaways, can we just confirm the pronunciation of his first and last names?
Yeah, Pitsoni Ulavai.
Ulavai.
Mhm.
Okay.
So when was this task force established? Just from today?
No, the task force predominantly was established from Monday on.
It was pretty early in the piece that
Very early in the
it was
piece.
clear that Nemesis would be involved in this investigation.
Yeah. Yep, it was. Yep.
And in-state agencies, when did they become involved?
Well, basically from day one, we work very closely with the state agencies. So we're reaching out all the time, and they're reaching out to us often. So we work very closely.
Why decide to go down this route? Is it just simply the investigators just have that sort of background knowledge, that history, investigating these particular issues in the ACT space?
Yeah, definitely, and it's a broad investigation, and we don't want to limit that investigation at all. So it's a lot easier to start broad and narrow it in.
What does this incident more generally say about, I guess, the risks of becoming involved in outlaw motorcycle gang activity?
Yeah, I guess and I've spoken previously about this. People involved in outlaw motorcycle gangs are going to be subjected to violence. And this is a clear indication of what happens. If you're not subjected to violence, there's every opportunity that you'll be used by the club to commit crime, and you'll be arrested, and you'll serve time in jail. So, for me, for anybody out there contemplating joining an outlaw motorcycle gang, use this as an example of what can happen to you.
It's also to become a victim as well. Are these sort of perhaps internal or inter-gang rivalries, they can become violent?
Absolutely, and we're seeing these violent outcomes, and sadly, people dying because of their involvement with outlaw motorcycle gangs.
Have you seen an increase in the number of people becoming involved in these gangs recently, or a decrease?
No, actually we've seen a decrease, to be honest. We've seen a decrease in the numbers of gang members, and it's something that myself and Task Force Nemesis have been working very hard to decrease the numbers and the membership. We've also seen a decrease in the membership and the clubs across the ACT. But with that, we've seen a decrease in the amount of offences being committed by outlaw motorcycle gang members, which has been a good outcome.
What does your intelligence tell you about why that decrease is occurring? Is it because of prosecutions? Is it for some other reason?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the work we're doing, the prosecution, you know, the work we've done in terms of legislative reform with the government, the ACT government, has been, been great for us and assisted in being able to get successful prosecutions through court.
Do you think the police powers would be enhanced by the introduction of anti-consorting laws in the territory?
Well, look, that'd be a matter for government, but what I can say is the government's been very supportive of ACT policing, especially in terms of crime scene powers and things like that, which have assisted what we've done, especially in terms of those outlaw motorcycle gangs.
Scott, these chaps who join gangs are generally young men they're attracted by the notoriety of being involved in the gang, the money, the drugs. Is that pretty much a case in this instance?
Look, that's absolutely the flow and the recruitment process that outlaw motorcycle gangs have. They recruit, young members. There's a recruitment sort of flow into their club, and they're asked to commit offences. And like I said, usually those offences involve violence, and they're either hurt or injured, or the police are able to prosecute them. So, the outlook for prospective members into outlaw motorcycle gang is really poor.